Well, you know, Halloween is one of the most popular holidays on the calendar, especially for kids for obvious reasons, but it's also a DelmarvaLife holiday. So happy Throwback Thursday. But I do have some sad news to share. Jim Duffy decided to stay home.
No.
Yeah.
How are we going to do Throwback Thursday?
Well, he actually sent in somebody to be here instead, kind of his alter ego.
Don't tell me.
Yep.
No.
Yep.
No.
Yep. It is the Halloween return of Duffnac The Magnificent.
Happy Halloween.
So you understand, Duffnac has a little bit of a shtick. He's kind of like, do you remember way back the Johnny Carson show? Do you remember way back Karnak the Magnificent? Well, you remember he would do the whole thing with these envelopes and he would predict what was inside. Well.
Welcome back, Duffnac.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
I'm
I'm glad that Jim Duffy stayed home.
We have the envelopes here. So inside the first one is the answer to a question. And I'm going to...
Yeah.
So these have been hermetically sealed.
I need to get it close to
Okay.
These have been hermetically sealed on Lisa's porch.
Okay. So the question is... How do I do this? The question is, what did the future of aviation look like in 1902?
In order to answer that question, we are going to turn to Simon Newcomb. Have you heard of Simon Newcomb?
I haven't heard of Simon.
He was arguably the most famous scientist to ever live on the Delmarva Peninsula. Late 1800s, he was an astronomer, president of the American Astronomy Association, a mathematician, president of the American Mathematical Society.
Okay.
He was also an economist. If you went to the Library of Congress website and put in Simon Newcomb, you know what would come back? We have 46,000 different items about Simon Newcomb and his incredible scientific career.
Good, yes.
Where did that career start? He was born in Canada. He got in a little contract issue trouble when he was trying to become a doctor up there. And, he ended up leaving Canada, and he settled in Downs Crossroads, which we know of today as Galena, and he got a job as a school teacher. By the time 1902 comes along, he is eminence degrees of the science world in America. And there's all these people trying to get started on flying machines, right? There's people in France, they're just crashing. There's people in Washington, they're crashing. There's these goofballs in Kitty Hawk, North Carolina.
Yeah, what do they know?
But I'm sure that the greatest scientists who ever lived on Delmarva could foresee the future despite all of their failures. Do you think so?
Yeah.
Do you think so?
I don't know. Let's see.
Here's what Simon Newcomb said in 1902. Flight by machines heavier than air is unpractical and utterly impossible. No possible combination of known machinery and force can be united in a working machine.
So this was 1902?
It was.
Wasn't it 1903 when the Wright brothers...
Can I have the next envelope?
Yeah, let's move along. Moving along to the next envelope.
Would you mind if I have the next envelope?
For the amazing... You ready?
See.
Here we go. This is it. It's amazing how he does that.
Baseball.
Oh,
World Series ended last night, right?
It
Baseball.
did, yes, it did.
Baseball.
Right. We were supposed to ask you about what the World Series looked like in 1907.
Jack Dunn was the manager of the Baltimore Orioles in the early 1900s.
Jack Dunn.
And he was famous for discovering Babe Ruth, a name I'm sure you're familiar with.
Yeah.
1907, a young kid from Trapp comes on to the Baltimore Orioles at the end of the season. This kid from Trapp is named Frank Baker. People may know him better as Frank Home Run Baker. He's 20 years old. He comes to the Baltimore Orioles. Nobody knows who he is, but surely Jack Dunn, the great talent scout, will know who he is. It seems that Jack Dunn gave Frank Baker his unconditional release after the 1907 season, and he told the media, Frank Baker cannot hit the baseball.
And this one, hand that to him. The question is, wait, do your thing first. Okay. The question is, what does the future of Ocean City look like after the storm of 1933?
Clifford Cropper was in the fishing business in the early 1930s. He did a term as, before that he did a term as mayor of Ocean City.
Okay.
So he's a good businessman, well-connected, thinking about the future of the town. Now, before 1933, fishing was a pain in the you-know-what in Ocean City. But the famous, infamous hurricane of 1933 dropped so much rain that the bays filled up like a water balloon to bursting. Now, Clifford Cropper had a, just bird's eye view of this because he was in the fishing industry, he was mayor of Ocean City. Surely he saw what would the future hold now that there was an inlet.
Yes.
Okay.
Shall we see what he said?
Let's
See
please.
what Mr. Cropper said.
Well, actually, this quote is not from Mr. Cropper.
Okay.
It's from his daughter.
So what did she say?
So Violet says, Daddy paid taxes on that 5th Street lot, the underwater ones, for the rest of his life. He died in 1957, 24 years later. Paid taxes on his underwater property that whole time. He thought they were going to close the inlet back up, and that way he'd have his land back.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
So maybe not the best investment on the part of
No.
The
Mr.
future.
Cropper.
Duffnac
The future.
The Magnificent for Throwback Thursday. Thank
Again.
you for coming in and
Predicting the
the past.
past.
Should I keep him at home more often, that other guy?
Well,
Let's talk it over.
yeah, we'll
We'll
talk
consider.
after.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just tell him, show him we say hi.
Yeah. Yeah.
Miss
I will.
So